All right, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right. Today I will be briefing you about your upcoming exam, and also I will be briefing you on common mistakes you made in your submissions, especially on graphics. All right, I hope you can see my screen. I made a few points on your common mistakes here. Just a minute. All right. So probably you must be reading these things, and I will elaborate a few on it. So your common mistakes, first thing is in projections, your projection points are all in small letters, okay? Even if the question is giving you the points in capital letters, which it should, but your annotations in projections, which would be basically the points corresponding to your top view, front view, and profile view or side view, they all must be written in small letters only. So in the top view, let's say if the point is A, in the front view it will be A dash, and in the profile view it will be A double dash. Okay, many of you were still missing the same these mistakes. So please keep note of this very carefully. All right. And the second point is you have to annotate the dimensions and the angles clearly. Okay. So here in many times, and here I have written how to put dimension over here. So when you put dimensions, also say this is your line, okay? This is your line, and when you put dimensions, some of you were putting it like this. So whatever that angle may be, you have to put it in an ortho line. So you have to make a line parallel, and you must project it something like this. Consider a virtual 90-degree line protruding out, and your dimension line must be along that line and within that two projections. All right. And whenever you make dimension lines here, this is for your reference. That is why the line width everything is the same, but your dimension line must always be thinner than your actual line. Okay, so make sure that you are using a smaller line weight in your dimension line, and this is even more important when you are projecting a point, because points don't have other dimension than it being a point, right? So suppose I have a point here, some of you do not. Suppose I have a point here, okay? So that point, in order to position it, I have to put a dotted line, right, to emphasize on its position. And when it comes to its dimension, some of you were simply using your dimension line like this. Let's say this is 50, and it's like that. Okay, do not do it like that. You must always mark your point clearly and then emphasize it, and then the dimension line has to be in a thinner line. All right, if you want to write then you write. All right, okay. So annotate important references as per questions. This is especially when you are projecting your planes and your solids. Sometimes our question says that, let's say the axis of a square prism is at an angle, or let's say, to annotate it in a simpler form, let's say we have a let's say we have a hexagon first. Let's say we first have a hexagon, and let's say that there is a diagonal like this, just in case. Let's say in this particular drawing, and if this is annotated like this, then we are looking at its front view, right? And let's say this is the XY line, reference line. So let's say that instead of saying one of the edges is at a certain angle to the horizontal plane, suppose it says that the axis, oh sorry, the diagonal through one of the diagonal through two of the points of a hexagon is making 60 degree to the horizontal plane. If that is the case, then in a normal hexagonal drawing, we really would not include any diagonal, right? We would simply have a hexagon. But if the question is telling us a certain things about a diagonal, then we can simply annotate it with a fainter line, or we can put a straight line also, or a dotted line also. So we would now make this as our reference because it is the one which is making 60 degree, right? So, and with that, then we would simply have our hexagon drawn, right? So that would be our starting point, and we must always annotate this. Right, if the question is saying something about 60 degree, then on your drafting, that 60 degree must be visible. It must always be there. Okay. So next
Sir, excuse
is,
me, sir.
yes, yes.
About if there is no distance given from this like XY axis, like if there is no distance from VP or SP, then can we take any
Hmm.
distance or
Yes,
if
yes,
we,
you can assume anything. If there is
okay,
no specific dimensions with respect to any of the reference planes, then you can take it as you want. You can let it touch the VP, you can let it touch
okay,
the horizontal plane. It is up to you.
okay, thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. Next point is do not scale down your drawings. I have seen that probably it's because of you not wanting to use too many of the pages or wanting to be in a hurry, or you were in a hurry. So many of you were scaling down your drawings. For example, instead of having a 50 line, you chop it down probably to 25 line. I cannot measure that anymore because of the constraints. Do not ever scale down your drawings, okay, especially in these projections, because we are normally in the range of 30 40 50 60 65. We seldom cross 75 all right. So as that is the case, do not scale down your drawings, because your dimension lines, your dimensioning, everything is going to be too squeezed in, right? So never scale down your drawing. And yes, as I had mentioned, dimension lines must be thin or in dotted line. You can use dotted line for a dimension line as well. Points must be clearly drawn as well, as I had mentioned. Do not put too many drawings in one sheet. This is especially true for your portfolio submission. Even in exam time also it holds true, but it is more stringent because when you put in too many drawings in one sheet, then it seems a bit untidy, or let's say the sheet composition is not working out well. So even in remember that brick beds that I had sent you, types of bricks, yeah, the types of bricks drawings that I had sent you, you would see that that was the sheet page, the sheet size that I was using, the border, it all corresponds to an A3 size, an A3 size paper. So that means that even in that also, your drawings, your brick beds and the different types of bricks are evenly spaced out, and there are proper spaces between them. All right. In many drawings, I have seen that you are you are trying to put in all the drawings in one sheet, and that just make it look less formal or a lot less clean. So do not do that. And carefully draft your hexagon and pentagon. Say if we were to draw a heptagon also, that would hold true because they have their own internal angles, right? Those angles must be adhered to, and the sizes meaning the size of your sides of the dimension of the sides must be carefully taken into account. Okay. And if you do not write the units in the dimensions, for example, here I am writing it as 50 mm, right? Millimeter. So what happens is that if you do not have this, if you do not want to write it, then what you can do is that you don't write it, but the end of your page, which I believe I've already told you this, but like over here, above this, you write here along this line, all units are in millimeter. All right. If you do not write this and if you do not annotate anything, then we are not going to know what kind of units you are following. Okay, yes, we can assume it as per the question, but you should be the one telling us which unit is this, either by putting the unit as a suffix or as a note over here. You put a note, all units are in millimeter. All right. While scanning, make sure to rotate your PDF sheet in such a way that, for example, here you can scan it in horizontal mode or vertical mode, whatever that may be, from as per the position of your phone. But it should be such that it can be scrolled like this, right? Your pages. Now my page is in portrait mode, right? Here my page is in portrait mode, and I can simply swipe it like this. Your page may be in a landscape mode, and I should still be able to swipe it like this. All right. So make sure that you rotate your screen, especially if you use the likes of Adobe Scan, then you can always review your sheet all the time. Okay, there are a few things which I might not have written over here. Some things are like you can always check the quality of your screen, okay, the quality of your sheet after you scan. Sometimes it is washed out, probably because you are not in a well lit room. When you are not in a well lit room, then it is going to try to brighten up. The auto image editor is going to brighten up your sheet, and in that meantime it is going to wash out your thinner lines. A lot of time that happens. But even with that, I can still see that there is a problem with your scanning, and I can understand the consistency of your lines still, okay? But then even with that also, what I can see is the inconsistency is still visible, all right? Because once it try to highlight, once it adjusts with the contrast and everything, then that is the point where it actually detects your inconsistency as well at the same time. All right. But sometimes what you can do is you can adjust the color, not too much in Adobe Scan, but you can simply remove the adjustment that the software is making, and you can simply send it as its uh, camera output. All right, it can be done like that. So make sure that you are properly your pages, your paper are clearly and neatly scanned. And another thing is that at the time of your exam, the paper is going to be the type of paper you will use will be written on my subject. I'm not talking about other subject. They might have already told you. But for me, on that day only, you will be knowing it. So, and you would have the option to choose A4 and A3. So don't bring in an A2 sheet or an A1 sheet. Only A4 and A3, and between that, I will be making a instruction. All right. All right. Now, when it comes to BCM, for your exam, especially for the drafting part, so the type of paper, the size of paper will be mentioned on your sheet, so you can be anyway as it is going to be either A4 or A3 or both A4 and A3. You can make your sheets. You can make your sheet outlines prior to the exam time. Actually, you can take an advantage in that matter. Okay, but Anything other than that, it should not be done. So make sure that if you want to have, if you want to have, if you want to save some of your time, you can go on with that. And in your first sheet, all of your titles, the title panel and everything has to be there. Coming on to the second sheet, you can let it as I told you before, only the remark and the page number. Page number is always important for us to check whether you have skipped a sheet or not. So the page number is always important. Okay. And uh, and the question, yes, some of you forgot that.
Sir, I
Yes.
want to ask a question like during the examination time, if we are running with the time, so can we draw the material on the A4 sheet? Like,
Can you draw the
yes, sir. Said the drafting part, can we do the drafting part on the A4 sheet?
what sheet you are going to use is going to be mentioned on that time of exam only. All right. So whatever that question you have, it will be answered on the day of your exam.
Okay,
Right.
sir.
The reason why I'm saying this is because as these are 50 marks and your syllabus is highly reduced to a very small extent, right? So that means that we are trying to make sure that we are trying to eliminate as much as possible chances of doing unfair means. All right. So it's very difficult to control the different types of unfair means that can be applied, especially now that we are in distance mode. Okay, but we are trying our level best to make sure that all of these are not done as far as possible. So that is why we are not telling the type of sheet and all these things to be used. Not that I suspect any one of you would do it, but it's kind of like a protocol that I would want to hold on to. So I cannot tell you if you would be doing that or not right now, but just be ready with your sheets. And heads up that I can give you is that you can make your borders and everything ready before the exam. Right, that you cannot do in offline exam. All fresh sheets are given to you. So in the time of your offline exam, and if you are too much in a hurry, then yes, many a times you would be writing your draftings in your A4 paper. But actually, in the time of exam, that does not make sense much because on your drafting board, your A1 paper is already ready with you. You have drafted it. If you reach, if you yeah, you are going to make the drafting on the table ready and your A4 paper is also ready with you. So that means that you can simply switch from one paper to another. And I hope that in your home also you have such an option, like you have a table and your A3 paper is already pinned down there, and an A4 paper is flexible, you can write anywhere. So put yourself in such situation, in such a way that you can switch between the A4 and the A3 part just like that. All right. So in BCM, uh, yet again, as your timing would be 1.5 hour this time, 50 marks, 1.5 hour. So you would have more time. So in that class test, I was giving you an hour and 50 marks. It was more or less like a test actually. On normally 50 mark question is worth more than an hour, but then I was giving you more of drafting work and less of written test. Many of you had written and drafted a lot, and I could see that probably you guys did not do very well in terms of uh, time constraints. But some of you did really well though. So in such situations, always remember, as I had told you, this is a recap. I will say it again that when it comes to the construction part mainly we look much more into your drafting in your especially for me. Okay, I will see more into your drafting, how well you know your drawings, because it's more like a photographic memory. So that is going to be mm, that is going to show how well you understand your, say, type of bondings, type of corners, type of building components and such. And then the explanation, it can be on the sheet itself, okay, on that particular sheet itself, and that especially in the time of examination. And when it comes to materials, though, the material sections like concrete, cement, and all those things, when it comes to materials, you would be doing more of the writing up part. Okay, so in that case, you would not need to uh, draft much. If you want to illustrate a very small illustration on, let's say, production of brickworks, production of bricks, if you want to say a schematic diagram or production of cement, like there is a flow chart, right? I ask you to make one flow chart out of the three charts. Out of the three flow charts, I want you to make one compiled chart of that, flow chart of that. And if you want to show that, then more or less that's not drafting, right? It's a flow chart. It's a very simple. You can do it freehand also, those flow charts. So you can illustrate like that, okay? But when it comes to the construction part, it's the drafting part. So we want you to be more careful on that part, right? And what else? Yeah, any other question? I'll take questions now.
Sir, I want to ask a question about isometric view. That the second question you provided us, that the cylinder one. Sir, in that question, it is mentioned that one of its generator, one of its base generator is on the HP.
Oh,
So, sir,
yes, yes. Hmm.
yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir, I
yes.
want to
Sorry.
ask about that
Yes.
question.
Anchal, can you please be a little bit louder? Can you hear me, Anchal? You were talking about that
Yes, sir.
generator, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. Sorry about it. Yes, in isometric view, many of you got somewhere around 7 because of your orientation of your cylinder, that isometric view of that cylinder. Good thing that Anchal pointed out. The generator is, let's say, the surface, the face. Okay, a circle would have many points, right? Many points, and when it's a cylinder, so that so we have two lines showing it's the side of our generator, right? Sorry, of our cylinder. So there are basically like as many as possible of these lines. Okay, so these lines are actually the ones that make the face of your cylinder. So these lines are called the generators. Okay, these are our generators. So when it says that a generator is resting on the horizontal plane, then that means it has to sleep. Your cylinder has to sleep on the horizontal plane. All right, so that is why in such scenarios, your your cylinder base must be made either in this or this, the two vertical faces of your isometric planes. So that means that you would have, okay, so you make an arc. Actually my isometric angle is very skewed, so it won't look too good. All right, so then you would have to make your cylinder in this direction, more or less like that. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Majority of you were letting it stand. It means that the base is resting on the horizontal plane or it's floating above, whatever the case may be. When it says the generator is resting on the horizontal plane, then it should be done like that. Any more question?
Yes, sir. After the exam, sir, will we automatically start the semester again, or will there be some kind of vacation or holidays?
No, there won't be break because your seniors are already starting. Okay, your seniors are already starting, and the time of your even semester examination is going to be the same. It will be either in the end of June or in the beginning of July. So I believe that as we are starting in February itself for your seniors, the exam will be done in the later part of June, probably starting second week of June or third week of June, latest by third week of June. And as that is the case, you guys will also be joining in right after you are done with your exam.
Okay, sir.
If let's say I believe you have already seen your timetable. What is the date of your AD jury, design jury? Can someone confirm?
15, sir, I think.
It's 16.
1/6. 1/6 is your last date.
Yes,
So
sir.
that is a Wednesday. So who knows? Maybe you will be given a 2 days leave or so. Probably we will start right. Definitely by the 21st, it will be resumed, I believe.
Sir, can you send us
Yes.
foundation note, like if the PDF you sent in other topics?
Foundations.
Yes,
All right. Actually, sir will be. Yes, I will
Sir,
send
Janit
you that.
already sent us, sir, in the class email, sir.
it's only
Okay,
PPT.
okay.
That
It's only.
presentation, but yeah, it's only presentation.
PPT.
All right. Anyway, sir will be taking a revision class tomorrow. Okay. You can ask for more. And if it's not, then you can still ask me again. But I believe that as sir has taken that, and I'm afraid I might be giving you some other materials which you guys did not go through. So tomorrow, sir will be taking another class in the forenoon. So in that forenoon session, sir will take another class in the sense of revision basically. So at that time, you can ask for more. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Any other question? As we are starting with BCM and to be followed by graphics, so my subject will be done on the first 2 days. And I think after we are done with the two subjects, probably you would be all clear about any of the doubt that can arise during your exam time. So I think before that, today is the more or less the last day that you can ask at least to me about exam. All right. Then I will repeat the procedure of your exam. The timing, is it 11 a.m. or 10:30 a.m.? I haven't gone through that schedule specifically. Can someone confirm?
11.
11. So if it's 11, then link will be shared at around 10:30 a.m. Okay. And then after that, after the 15 minutes, that means in 15 minutes you will be given a chance to submit your file. And you will have time. All right, so that was how it was done, especially to Semi. That day she was late. So at 10:45, your question will be shared, and after 15 minutes at 11, that sharing will be stopped, and such that then after that you will have to write your exam. 1.5 hours later, you will be given 15 minutes to compile your sheet. And just in case you are done before that and you want to exit or you want to stop, you will inform your faculty and it will be noted. The time will be noted. And after that, you will be given 15 minutes to submit your file. Okay. And in case you are using your phone as your camera, then by then you are, you can stop the camera while you are scanning it. And then after you have done, then you will come back. And then upon confirmation from our side that you have saved, sorry, we have received file and the name of your file is correctly done, then after that only you should leave. Okay. Without confirmation from the faculty, if you leave, then if there is any case arising, like your email not received or anything, then you are uh, you don't have the rights to complain later on. Right. So make sure that all of your paper are received by the invigilators. And the positioning of your camera, all right, it's ideal that if you put your camera in such a way that we can see your body, your whole body. Okay, say you are sitting on a table, so that table must also be visible in such a way that we can see you and you writing your paper at the same time. So you still have a few days before the exam, and make sure that you are arranging your place of your examination according to that requirement. Okay. Any more question? All right. Okay. Thank you, class, and all the best for your exam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.